In this bulletin, Fiji has over 1,000 active COVID-19 cases, support pours in for vaccination campaign, and school projects cancelled. Good afternoon, Fiji. Fiji now has a total of 1,631 active cases of COVID-19 in isolation with 618 recoveries. The COVID-19 death toll stands at 9. This comes after the Ministry of Health recorded 180 new cases as of 8 a.m. yesterday and one more COVID-19 death. He was a 68-year-old admitted at the hospital for a pre-existing non-COVID medical condition. Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says he tested positive during his admission and his doctors have confirmed it a COVID-19 death. He was among the 3 patients who died at the CWM hospital in Suva. The second death was a 57-year-old who was also admitted at the hospital for a pre-existing non-COVID medical condition. He also tested positive during admission and doctors are investigating his death. The third death was a 66-year-old who was announced dead on the arrival at the emergency department at CWM hospital. According to protocol, she was swabbed and also tested positive to COVID-19. Her death is also under investigation. The ministry is also investigating the case of 2 family members from Drasa Vitongo in Lautoka who presented to Punj's Health Centre. Business process outsourcing industries are supporting Fiji's vaccination strategy being implemented by the government. The vaccination program will also play a vital role in economic recovery and ensuring that clients and the industry are not adversely affected by working remotely. Executive Director for the BPO Council, Shagufta Janiv, says the council is aiming towards having a 100% vaccinated workforce for our BPO members. Janiv says having a 100% vaccination rate will help the BPO industry solve the difficulties currently being faced with the work-from-home model. The Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association also fully supports the government's current nationwide vaccination campaign. Chief Executive Officer of FHTA, Fantasia Lockington, says they recognize that it is only through a sufficiently vaccinated population that Fiji will be able to safely and effectively reopen its borders to allow tourism to once again become the major contributor to foreign exchange earnings, provide the highest employment options and restarts its multiplier effects and benefits throughout the country. FHTA says it continues to encourage all eligible adults in the tourism industry and surrounding communities that it operates within to be vaccinated to keep our staff, guests and communities safe. While the association acknowledges that workers have the choice to not be vaccinated, FHTA supports the rights of tourism employers to require vaccination as a condition of employment for the protection of all and will guide members accordingly. The association has always maintained that COVID-safe practices of frequent hand washing, social distancing, avoiding crowds and the wearing of masks be part of the industry's new normal. The Ministry of Education has announced that all Year 12 and 13 projects for this academic year have been cancelled. This as the second COVID-19 pandemic continues to wreak havoc in Viti Levu, with majority of the cases emerging from the Central Division. Students across the country have been on an extended school break since April 20th. Last week, the ministry stated that all schools nationwide will remain closed until further notice following discussions with the Ministry of Health and Medical Services. The ministry is providing supplementary learning resources to keep the children engaged during this extended break. To date, more than 36,550 food ration, grocery and essential item packs have been distributed by the government. Around 7,050 groceries and essential item packs have been distributed in targeted lockdown and home isolation. This includes areas in Suva, Nasese, Vatuanga, Tadirwa, Kalambu, Nandawa, Sawani, Dilkusha, Nosori, Koronivia, Verata, Wanimbokasi, Wanimbuku and Nakasi. In addition, 700 grocery and essential item packs were delivered to Nandi yesterday, with a fourth round to be distributed today for the households still under lockdown. To date, around 943 packs have been delivered to Fijians in home isolation in Lami, Suvarnasindhu, Nosori areas. Meanwhile, Mohammed Abdullah Radha donated 200 food ration packs worth $15,800 yesterday to the Ministry of Economy to be distributed to families in need of groceries in lockdown areas. Seven people were arrested in the last 24 hours for breaching curfew, while one was arrested for breaching health-related restrictions. Acting Commissioner of Police Rusiate Tundravu says altogether 8 people were arrested for breaching health and curfew-related restrictions. He says while 7 were arrested for breaching curfew, a Lotoka taxi driver was charged for carrying excess passengers, breaching the Ministry of Health guidelines on public service vehicles. Tundravu says only 2 divisions recorded cases, with the Southern Division recording 5 and the Western Division with 3 reports. 2 other arrests recorded in the Western Division involved a 31-year-old man who was found drunk along the Sarubak Road, while a 20-year-old man was found loitering along Link Road, Lotoka. The 5 cases recorded in the Southern Division were all in the Vale Levu area. 3 men were arrested along Kanade Road returning from a grog session in Nandera, while 2 men were found loitering in Kinoya. Up ahead, Fijiana Sevens in high spirits, and England tops Group D. The cold weather in Brisbane, Australia failed to deter the Fijiana Sevens from going all out at training. Team co-captain Tokasa Seniyasi says they adjusted well to the weather and responded well during training while in quarantine. She adds they're fortunate to be playing against 2 of the top teams in women's sevens history this weekend. The Naita Siri fly half says they have watched how New Zealand and Australia play and what approach they would take against them.
There's a few new players who will make their debut in the senior sevens international stage, and the bond and the team spirit is very positive, and all on the same page. This is very important to us because we're meeting the 2 main teams. They are the tops in the World Series.
All Black selectors kept players in the dark until the team announcement. 4 new players spoke to TVNZ about the moment of shock. England's 1-0 win against Czech Republic sets them as leaders of Group D in the Euro 2020. It was Raheem Sterling's driving performance that helped secure the win for the side. The Manchester City winger hit the post inside the first 2 minutes with a lob but was on the score sheet soon afterwards when he headed in a cross by Jack Grealish, who marked his first start at the tournament with an assist. Scotland's dream of progressing in the Euro 2020 Championship has been short-lived after a 3-1 loss against Croatia earlier today. Cloudy periods with afternoon or evening showers and isolated thunderstorms over most places. Isolated heavy falls likely and cool at night. That's FBC News Now. Join us for our 1-hour major bulletin at 7 p.m. and be sure to download the FBC app to access the latest in news, sports and live radio broadcasts from any of our 6 FBC radio stations. Stay safe and good afternoon.